JJ, how we doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you for being here today. We're doing a special episode here at the Bike Shed. I'm with JJ. He represents Verge Motorcycles. What's your role and position with Verge Motorcycles, and what can you tell us about the brand?
So thank you first and foremost for having me on. I've been excited to be on this podcast and discuss things with you. I'm head of sales for North America for Verge Motorcycles. We are the premier EV superbike motorcycle in the world. The company is based out of Finland, and we have a very unique motorcycle because it has what we affectionately call the donut motor on it, which is one thing that's very easily identifiable with our motorcycle. You'll see that the rear wheel is a hubless integrated rim motor, which we call the donut, and everyone calls it the Tron bike because it's very unique looking.
Yeah, it's very Tron looking.
Yeah.
Quick question on that design aspect. I've seen something similar custom made by like a one-off, but has there ever been a brand that has done it that way?
There's been a lot of like custom build things,
right,
with the hubless motor. Not to my knowledge has there ever been a in production full force motorcycle company that has done what we're doing right now. So to answer your question, no.
It's a beautiful design. Yeah. What I also like about the design, and this is just based off other companies or other custom builders that have tried something similar. The rotor is also on the outside to give it that donut look. But what I've heard and my understanding is when you have the rotor on the outside, it puts the stopping power directly on that point of the tire versus, inwards towards braking outwards.
Yeah, it's inside out.
It's inside out. Yeah. So you get more precise braking. Would you?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then let's talk about the customizations. You have showy suspension on this. Let's talk about all the stuff that you wanted to collaborate and this build coming together.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of the build of the TS Pro has been done by our team in Finland, the engineers and the designers. I was very fortunate to be in London last year, setting up our operations for test rides. And I was able to work very closely with Krishna Mistry, who is the VP of Series Engineering. Me being a salesperson, I'm not really involved with actual engineering and design part of the motorcycle. I sell the bike.
Yeah, but you've heard some juicy stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Getting to spend time with Krishna, like Krishna and I went on road trips and we took bikes to events. We went to Silverstone together. We got to ride the TS Pro at Silverstone, which was a total honor. Not actually on the track, but in the inner tracks and whatnot. And just being able to, pick her brain on how things work. And once again, engineering and design is way above my league. As a salesperson, I can sell the product and I love the product and I know the product, but listening to her on the reason why there's certain angles for things and the reason why the efficiency of the motor works and the battery technology I'm still learning to this day, every day, about this bike, and I'm so impressed by the engineering behind this motorcycle. Like, it's just unfathomable the things that our team have come up with for this motorcycle. Like, it doesn't seem real to me.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like it's a movie.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, and the more you look at it, it's so intricate that, it's unlimited. You're not going to be able to learn everything.
Yeah.
And I also want to learn, how you sell it, how you pitch it, and what you offer. But also, let's focus a little bit more on your career. You have an EV background before you came with Verge Motorcycles, right?
I do.
What is your thoughts? Let's talk a little bit about your EV background, and then what are your thoughts on EV vehicles from when they came out 10 years ago, 5 years ago today, and where it's going, and what was the moving factor for you to say, hey, this is Verge Motorcycles. I want to change from this path to this path.
Yeah. I still look back now and I think I always pick the hardest road in life, I grew up in Adelaide, Australia. As a young kid, my first kind of, experience with motorsport was the Grand Prix. The F1 Grand Prix was in Adelaide.
Yeah.
And my house was where I grew up, was about, you know, a couple kilometers or a couple miles away from the Grand Prix track. So every time F1 would come to Adelaide, the whole town would stop, and you could hear the zoo, zoo, zoo. You could hear that when they're on the practice laps. And I was just like, that is so cool. I was a big Nigel Mansell fan, Damon Hill. I loved F1. Like, I loved everything about it. And for me, I was always about like performance and motorsport. Mick Doohan, who was a very famous Australian motorcyclist, I was a big fan of his as well. He was a world champion. So growing up, my brother was a Triumph motorcyclist. He was also a Harley Davidson fan as well. So he always had Harley Davidson stuff. So I was all about internal combustion performance. Fast forward to becoming an adult, I was contacted by a previous employee that I worked with, and she said, hey, I see you're in Florida right now. I work with this company called Lucid Motors, and I know that they need you. And at that time, this was after COVID. So I'd taken time off. I bought a F-150 truck. I bought a truck camper. Yeah. I traveled across the US with my dog. Nice. And I was like, I'm done with the corporate world. I'm done with sales. I just want to go live a life traveling across the US. And I was like, I don't know if I want to get back into corporate world. I don't want to get back into sales again, automotive. I've done automotive for 9 years. And she's like, trust me when I say this. She goes, we need you. And I was like, I'll come and check it out. So I went to West Palm Beach. I went and checked the car out, and I fell in love with the car. Like Lucid Motors. It is just a work of art, this car. So I was like, you know when you get like the spidey sense, and you're like, something is really cool about this product? I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this a shot. So I interviewed for the position, and I started working for Lucid Motors at West Palm Beach as the sales manager for West Palm Beach store. At that point, the company was going through a bit of a transition. It was going from experiential marketing to we're about to sell the car now. And I was struggling because at that point, I don't believe that the mission of the company was to sell the car. I think it was more so selling the dream of the car.
Right.
And I was like, now it's real. Now we have to physically, tangibly have to test drive people. And that's when I kind of, I guess, maybe stepped on a few toes at the company.
No.
I kind of stood up and said, guys, like we need to change our mentality on how we're positioning this car to the public, because it's a brand new product. Not many people know about us. Obviously with new tech, new automotive, this is the most difficult industry to change people's minds about. So for me, I loved the product, I believed in the product, and I had to use my experience in sales to have people see what I saw in the car, which is, rather than selling a dream, is actually physically driving with people, getting to know the person that's buying the car, and have them understand the passion that I have about this vehicle. And like I said to many people that I've worked with, I said there's three most emotional purchases in your life. Number one is purchasing a house. Number two is buying an engagement ring, a wedding ring, or like a watch or a piece of jewelry for the person that you love. Yeah. And the third one is your mode of transportation. Like, do you remember the first car that you bought or your family bought for you? Like, yeah, of course. Surely you do, right? So for me, I tried to reposition everyone's thoughts about how we sell this motor vehicle, because it's different. It's not internal combustion. It's not a Porsche. It's not a Ferrari. It's not a Mercedes. It's not a BMW. It's a Lucid. And we need to show people what this technology is, and show the passion behind what the engineers and designers did to make this beautiful product, rather than just sell an EV car. So I find it interesting because every day people would come into the store, you know, Ferrari owners, Porsche owners, BMW owners, whatever. Why would I want to drive this car? It's got no soul to it. It's got no spirit to it. You know,
right,
it's easy.
It has no motor, yeah.
It's got no motor.
Well, it's got motors, but whatever, no combustion.
You know, that. And I was like, I had so much belief in the product. I was like, I'm a Porsche guy myself. I've been F1 since I was a kid. I love MotoGP as well. So you're preaching to the converted about internal combustion. However, I'll say this, let's go for a drive. I'll show you what this car can do. And after we go in launch mode, if you don't like this car, you don't appreciate the performance behind it, then no problems. Because this car is not for everybody.
Right.
So then, I would take them out for a drive around West Palm Beach, and I used to work in private aviation. So there's a strip of road in West Palm Beach Airport, which is like a private road, straight shot, where you can test out the launch mode of the Lucid.
Yeah.
And, obviously they're impressed with the car from the very start because it's a beautiful car and it drives amazingly. Design on the interior is beautiful. And I said, launch mode, we're going to go into launch mode. So basically put foot on the brake, put your foot on the accelerator, and the dashboard will count, 1, 2, 3, and then it'll go launch mode. You take your foot off the brake and boom, you go 0 to 60 in like 2.5.
Insane.
And the look on people's faces when we drive back, because all my team would laugh, because when I'd come back, the look on, like, smile on people's faces after the drive.
They get those goosebumps, that empty stomach. They're in disbelief.
Disbelief.
It's a roller coaster.
Essentially, it's like being on a roller coaster. And for me, that's when I knew, okay, EV is something special, because you got all these internal combustion people go, gas heads, petrol heads, blah, 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 EV doesn't have a soul. And then having them experience the performance of this car and then kind of shutting them up was like a little notch on the belt after that.
Yeah. What do you think that is? What do you think, this happens with certain brands where there's like X brand, everybody loves it no matter how bad or how good or whatever it is. And then there's another brand that's just as good, if not better, but it doesn't get the validation of the other brand. Here, my question would be, for EV, it's like you get in an EV vehicle, you drive an EV vehicle, you see how convenient, how minimalistic, how clean, how simple it is to drive, self-driving options. Why is there so much hate? Where, with your experience, where do you see that hate? Because I had a Model S, Tesla.
Great car.
And, what's that?
Great car.
Great car. It drives by itself.
Yeah.
And I've said this before on the podcast. 5-6 years ago, you asked me, self-driving cars, I'd be like, hell no, thank you. That's insane. Now, I can't wait. I think everybody needs a self-driving car.
Agreed.
I do not trust people.
Agreed.
Nobody sees nobody between people eating in their cars, text messaging, being emotional, stressed out.
Not paying attention on the road.
Which is another statement that I've been saying lately, and I feel very strong about this. I feel safer on a motorcycle in LA traffic than in a car.
Yeah.
Because you get in a car and, there's somebody not paying attention, and you get in front of him, and then he looks up because he was on his phone. He's honking at you with rage and hate, and you're stuck.
Yeah.
On a bike, you avoid that. So I can't wait for self-driving cars. Yeah. I believe the world is. I know for a fact it's going to be way safer.
Yeah.
But where does this hate stand? Because
it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I read a lot of books. I read a lot of books about war, about empires, about whatnot. And the thing that I've found working for Lucid and now working for Verge is it's the fear of the unknown, right? People fear the unknown. And I like to kind of break it down to people. When they're being somewhat passive aggressive or rude with me, I'll say, may I explain something to you? I always ask, may I? I don't want to tell you. Because, you might say, shut up or whatever. That's fine. I'm not going to tell you then, It's fine. So I say, think about back in the day. What was our first mode of transport as humans?
Horses.
We walked.
Right,
we walked. Second one was horses. That was the main mode of transport. So then someone came along and they said, hey, I've got this contraption that I made. It's basically, and mind you, the first mode of transportation was actually an electric car. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
It was an electric car, which got kind of pushed away. But let's say, for example, right. They said, I've got this contraption that I've made, and I don't mean to, use crass words here, but there's a gas tank by your balls, and you're going to be riding a moving explosion mobile, essentially, that goes 20 miles per hour. Do you want to test it? Someone like, I'm going to be riding a thing that's got a thing full of gasoline that's about to catch on fire. I don't want to ride that. I've got my horse. I feed my horse carrots. It does poo. That's perfectly fine. So there's always that fear of the unknown, right? So that internal combustion machine that someone pioneered, guess what? That's our main mode of transportation now. Everyone uses that, familiar with it, they're comfortable with it. Then comes along EV. Oh, and the funniest question I used to get at Lucid was, what happens if the car gets struck by lightning? And I'm like,
Right.
what happens if your Toyota Corolla gets struck by lightning?
No.
What happens if your Hummer gets struck by lightning?
No,
Like,
the best one was also to add to that is, can you put in a car wash?
yeah.
What?
I was, so I kind of explained to, and then EV comes along, which is another different thing altogether. So like I said, for me, I believe that it's the fear of the unknown, and people love comfortability. People love what they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not a comfortable person. I like to test the boundaries. I like to try new things. I like to experience new things because I think that's what life is all about.
Yeah.
And I might make wrong decisions about things that I try, but at least I know I tried something different. I got a different perspective.
Right.
So when people come to me and say, at Lucid, they're like, oh, I'm internal combustion. I said, so am I. I love Porsches. I have a Porsche Cayenne. I love that car, and I would not trade it for the world. But I also appreciate the performance of EV because that's something that you'll never experience in internal combustion. There's no shifting of gears. It's one gear, linear, go. It's smooth.
Yeah.
So getting back to the point is the fear of the unknown is what makes people question EV. That's what it is.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about EV vehicles? Like, for example, one of my favorite things is I really loved the regen, where you could just let go of the gas and just, once you learn how to manage that, you don't even use your brakes most of the time. So that's one of my big highlights. What's one of yours?
Well,
I'm sure we share a bunch of them, but
yeah. I mean, I learned in Australia, a majority of us learned how to driving stick.
Yeah.
Right. One thing when I came here to the States in 2009 is that no one knew how to drive stick. So I went to a party one day and someone had like a Miata parked in the driveway and they had to move it, and no one at the party could drive stick.
Hilarious.
I just got to the States and I was like, I can move it. Like, I haven't drank that much. If it was just moving it onto the street, I can, I had 2 beers, whatever. So yeah. I'm just like, no one knows how to drive stick here. What the hell? So I think people love stick and gears because you're in control.
Yeah.
Right. For me, what I love about EV is the performance. It's so linear and it's so smooth. There's no click, 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 click. It's just whoosh.
Right.
It's like floating on a cloud.
Right.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Like the performance is instant. Like the torque is instant.
Yeah. The other thing too is just like anything else. There's a learning curve. Mm-hmm. So for example, when I would do like a Vegas trip and I'd drive, I know either way, if I'm driving a car, a motorcycle, an EV car, EV vehicle, whatever the case is, I'm stopping in Barstool. I'm getting my Starbucks or I'm going to get my In-N-Out, whatever the case is. But with the Tesla, I would charge there as well. And I would bring like a kettlebell, and while it's charging, I'd grab some coffee, hit the kettlebell.
Nice.
You learn these routines, you get into these new habits, or same thing. You would just watch a Netflix real quick, because you could just watch the Netflix in AC and enjoy. Yep. Like it forces you to have a timeout that if you start appreciating or schedule it, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I think is amazing.
That's one thing I'll say. Working at Lucid is that there was so much like hate for Tesla.
Yeah.
I don't know, partly because it was Tesla, partly because it was of Elon, but whenever anyone brought up that subject, I would stop them and I'd say, respectfully, Tesla are the pioneers of EV. So I have a lot of respect for Tesla and what they've done. Regardless of politics and whatnot, I think that should be a moot point. Like, let's talk about the actual beauty of the product and what it has done for the millions of people that drive EV right now. Not to mention the infrastructure that has been created here in the United States with Tesla supercharging. I mean, oh my God, like without that.
Well, it's back to the other point that we were talking about. EV gets so much hate, that it's ridiculous that EV companies wouldn't get along or support each other, be on the same page. Yeah. Regardless of wherever their stance is, they have the same mission. Yeah. And it's I don't know. I mean that's in everything, I guess. I
mean, Ferrari versus Porsche.
Right.
Like Lamborghini versus Ferrari.
Which is another funny thing. The people that say that, the people that are like, oh man, it's an EV vehicle, but you can't shift, or they don't have they don't have a Porsche, they don't have a Ferrari, they're nowhere even near that.
Exactly.
The amount of shit talking,
Yeah.
it's like, dude, like really?
They drive a Nissan Sentra.
Yeah, like really? And again, Nissan's a great car, but like, dude, you're comparing your Nissan Sentra and you're hating on a $100,000 car that goes 0 to 60 in 2.5, that drives by itself and has a computer screen for everything else. Yeah, I don't like that as they walk back to their computer and
I like I said, I picked the hardest roads in life sometimes, I think, working for an EV company for Lucid and then working for an EV motorcycle company, which I adore both of these companies, like great people that I've worked with. But one thing that I learned from Lucid, like all the hate and all the blah, 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 blah that would come at me, I'm a big fan of Keanu Reeves. I think he's an amazing person. I love his movies.
Individual. Yeah.
There was a quote that he came out with and said, and I always think about this all the time. He says, I'm at a point in my life right now where I just don't care anymore. Where if someone says, I can't remember exactly what the quote is when he said, if someone says, if I say the sky is blue and he says the sky is green, I'm just going to agree with him and say, if that's what you think, I support it, even if he's wrong. Yeah. I'm like, I took that, and anytime someone kind of came at me at Lucid or even at Verge Motorcycles right now, I give gratitude and I give empathy, and I don't engage just because people want to feel like they're right and they want to get their point across and they want to hear their voice. I'm like, good on you. We're all on this together, to be honest.
Yeah, here. Okay, a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Verge Motorcycle / motorcycle community. How have you been liking that?
Oh man.
What's the experience of people from different brands, people that buy the bike, people that have the bike, other EV motorcycle owners? Let's talk about the community a bit.
I wake up every morning, I pinch myself. Every morning I go, I get to do this for a living and I get paid for it. I am so blessed and so happy working in this company and this job, getting to do this, and the people that I interact with. There's a couple people I can mention right now. I don't want to mention their names just because they're customers or whatnot, but there's a gentleman who ordered the first limited edition. This was 2 years ago. We had a Tokyo Purple TS Pro available, and he was adopted it. He's a JPL engineer. JPL is a Jet Propulsion Lab for NASA.
Okay.
And he came to the store when we got our first test ride bikes, gave him a test ride. He smile on his face. He's a 2-year adopter of a reservation holder, one of our first reservation holders actually. And then when we opened up here at the bike shed, he came for our launch night, and he came with his girlfriend, total nice guy. And I said, hey, what are you doing like next week? He goes, I've got work, whatnot. I said, I'll bring a couple bikes down. He lives in Pasadena. I said, let's go, I'll bring a couple bikes down. He goes, you do that? I said, absolutely. You're one of our first reservation holders. I want to do something special for you. So we rode a couple bikes down and gave him a special test ride, and just seeing the appreciation and of not only of us doing that for him, but also just the appreciation for the mechanics of the motorcycle was phenomenal. Just seeing professionals, he's a Jet Propulsion Lab engineer, seeing him appreciate the engineering behind this bike, that's what makes it all worthwhile. It's we're working on something really special right now. And the community is amazing because they're all really hungry to get this bike.
Yeah.
And I have to kind of simmer my customers down a little bit, say, it's coming. We're a startup company. I know that we're going to launch the bike, earlier this year. We had to push things back because that's what happens, right? The Cybertruck was supposed to be released a couple of years ago or whatever. So
but compliances and local laws and this
homologation, it's not that we don't want the bike to come out. It's just that we have to follow safety procedures and homologation procedures to get this bike out. So getting back to the community, we probably wouldn't be here at the bike shed. We've got a retail spot here in the bike shed. We opened up about a month ago. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the community that we have. When I came back from London, I actually went to the bike shed in London, and I rode up with another one of my colleagues to the bike shed, and he's like, we're going to just show up? I said, yeah, why not? What do we got to lose? He goes, but it's the bike shed. I said, yeah. I said, surely they're interested in something that's going to be changing the dynamic, the shifting the paradigm in motorcycles. So let's go. That's the kind of person I am. Like I'm not afraid to go and show up. And when we got to the bike shed, we were welcomed with open arms, and it was really cool. Like that gave me confidence in what we have as a product. Seeing people like drinking tea and like drinking a beer as we go up the cobblestone path, and just like people scratching their heads, park the bikes, and people immediately, everyone came up to us and just started talking to us. And I was like, we've made it. We've made it, because we're being accepted and we're something different, and people are appreciating the bike. So I was like, when I go back to the States, I'm going to come to the bike shed every weekend. I'm just going to show up. And I did that. And I started, every time I would come, I would have 4 or 5 people around me, Ducati owners, Harley owners, Triumph owners, Suzuki owners. And we'll just talk about the bike, and people would appreciate it and they'd respect it. And then I got to meet, the owner of the bike shed. And I said, listen, we would love to be here and love to have a couple of bikes available to test ride with your customers. Fast forward, here we are right now. We're at the bike shed, and I love coming here. This is literally one of my favorite places in the world.
Yeah.
And the community of people is just amazing.
No, what Vicky and Dutch and what the bike shed represent and do is outstanding. Yeah. And the food's amazing, and the retail stores, you have every option there, and you can get a haircut and a tattoo, Exactly. It's they just need a hotel upstairs, and
that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you need, which, they can, anyways.
Yeah.
And then, what's your favorite part of Verge Motorcycle? Let's talk about one thing you told me outside that blew me away, and I'll let you say it, was the range, compared to other bikes. As soon as you told me the range, I was blown away. But let's do a quick checklist of some of your favorite highlights of Verge Motorcycle and your arrangement here at Bike Shed, what people can expect when they come to the Bike Shed, and where the motorcycles are at, and how to schedule a test ride.
Yeah, this is the easiest thing for me to talk about, to be honest, because we are ahead of the game in every aspect of our motorcycle compared to other EV motorcycles. And I can safely say that, because I've researched, when I say competitor, we're really in a class of our own, because we're the only bike that's in production that has the performance that we have. So I'll start with range. We have the longest range in any EV motorcycle in our class, 217 miles to a full charge.
Insane.
Now that's obviously, perfect conditions, going at in our range.
Yeah,
mode.
Moderate speed.
Speed.
And that's what's nice. Anybody that knows about this game or knows about it, that's...
Yeah, just like with Lucid, with the GT,
or Tesla, or
516
Rivian.
miles to a full charge. Lucid Motors, that's the longest range for any EV car. So 217 miles. I usually I've been riding the bike now for about 1.5 years in Europe and North America, about 165 miles to a full charge, and that's really giving it. So just like I try to explain to petrol people, that if you're going 100 miles an hour on a Ducati Panigale V4, how much miles are you going to get out of it if you're going 100 miles an hour for 30 minutes? You're going to chew through that gas. So riding up hills, down hills, highways, inner streets, suburbs, I get about 165 miles to a full charge, which in my mind is more than most internal combustion motorcycles with a full tank of gas. So that's number one. We have phenomenal range. Number two, and this is in no specific order, we've got our donut motor, which is the hubless integrated rim motor. And that's very special, because it's unlike any other motorcycle in the world. It doesn't have a belt or a chain. No belt, no chain, less friction, more efficiency, which gives us our range, right?
That's wild.
The next thing to talk about is the maintenance on the bike. No belt, no chain. You can change your tire quite easy when you get a flat. So the rear wheel, there's some videos you can go online. If you go on vergemotorcycles.com, go into our YouTube page. Most recently, one of my colleagues and I actually changed the wheel out on one of our bikes that had a flat tire, and it took us, him and I, 20 minutes to change a tire. So we didn't need to take the chain off, we didn't need to take the belt off. We literally just unbolted the swing arms, unbolted the rear license plate bracket, unbolted the rim, took the tire off, put the new tire on, bolted it all back on. Bam. Done without going to a tire shop. We did it in a storage locker, and it took us 20 minutes together to do it. In fact, I didn't even do anything. I was just filming it, to be honest, because I wanted to show people. So the maintenance on the bike, there's no engine, there's no oil, there's no transmission fluid, there's no water, there's no filters, No belt, no chain. The only fluid in the bike is the brake fluid reservoirs. That's the only fluid you need to change. The other thing about the bike is there's no heat emitted from it. So you can't burn your legs on the tailpipes because there's no tailpipe. You can't burn your legs on the engine because there's no engine. So maintenance on the bike is, if not zero, very minimal. So we do recommend a yearly diagnostic that we can do over the air because it's a smart bike. So we can cellular into your bike and do a diagnostic check on your bike for you.
Nice.
And then, I mean, how much, we've both owned motorcycles, you've owned motorcycle, I've owned motorcycles. How much money do you spend on maintenance a year? Especially on high performance motorcycles.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So much, yeah.
So the next thing I'll talk about is charging. Our US bike will be shipping with NACS, which is a North American charging system, which is, everyone knows it as the Tesla charging system. So our bike will be, as I know right now, the only EV motorcycle in the world that has NACS charging on it, which means we're able to use the Tesla supercharging network, which means range anxiety is going to go because you can find Tesla chargers anywhere.
Anyway, yeah.
Second of all, the fast charging that we have on our battery and our charging system means that you can get 0 to 80% in about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So 186 miles, if I'm calculating correct, in about 40 minutes charge on a Tesla supercharger, which is phenomenal. Yeah. When we ride on long rides together, like with friends and whatnot, you know, you have to stop and get gas somewhere, or if you're stopping at a coffee, you have to go get a bath, like have a bathroom break.
Of course.
Stop at a charger, put some juice in there, go get a coffee, go do some kettle swats,
Yeah.
you carry it with you,
Yeah.
and you're good to go. So our fast charging is amazing, our range is amazing, our low maintenance is phenomenal, not to mention our performance as well. So there's no gear, so you don't need to worry about shifting, you don't need to worry about clutching, you don't need to worry about stalling. And when you're tailgating or filtering, lane splitting and filtering, you don't need to focus on holding your clutch down in the first gear and like worry about wobbling the bike when you're going in and out of cars, because you don't need to. It's just basically the throttle. That's it.
Yeah.
So when I take customers on test rides, if they're comfortable when we lane split, I say, are you comfortable lane splitting? Yes. So the good thing about this is you're not thinking about which gear you're in when you're at the stoplights. You're not thinking about, am I neutral? Am I not clicking, trying to find first gear? You don't need to worry about that because it's basically just throttle. That's it.
Yeah.
And then obviously the performance of the bike, 0 to 60 in just under 3.5 seconds. That rush that you have when you kick it in beast mode is unlike anything you experience on an internal combustion motorcycle.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much some of my favorite points of this bike, the TS Pro.
And obviously it has traction control.
Traction control, ABS.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And obviously our HMI, our human machine interface, allows us to do a couple of different things. So we have 4 different ride modes. We have range mode, which is economical, conserves the battery. We have Zen mode, which is highway, freeway. So more power, less regen braking. We have beast mode, which is everyone's favorite. I mean, that's like more power, high regen braking. And then we have the final thing, which is custom mode, which is very unique. And I say this because you can actually turn off your traction control. You can either have low torque, you can have maximum torque. Now, one thing I didn't talk about is our maximum torque on our TS Pro is 737 foot-pound of torque.
Holy shit.
So if you put that into perspective, like KTM has one that's like 170 foot-pound of torque, I believe. So 737 foot-pound of torque is comparable to a Ferrari, essentially.
Right.
And you'll get to experience it when we ride together how that works. And also you can actually move the slider down to have a maximum speed of 72 miles per hour or up to 124 miles per hour, which is software governed.
Right.
So you can actually a la carte how you want the bike to behave, which is, I don't believe any other bike can really do what we're doing via, just literally touching a screen and go boop, 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 boop.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
This is such a silly question, but I'm just wondering, is there any state restrictions of how to bring in the bike or set it up, like emissions for combustion motors?
Yeah. So a couple of things we need to comply with DOT, Department of Transport, and NAT, we call NHTSA, National Highway Transport Safety Authority. There's a couple things that you need to comply with in the US. So once again, the bikes that we have right now that are test riding with customers are the model year 2024 European edition. It has CCS charging, has very small LED turn signals, which are very bright, by the way.
Yeah.
You'll get to see them.
Yeah, I saw they were tiny.
Yeah, but they're very bright. I mean, it's funny when you see them, but we have to have turn signals that are compliant with National Highway Transport Safety Authority. And you saw them on your live wire. They're kind of like wide, kind of angular. We also need to have a foot brake, which we don't have on the European bike. So the left handle is rear brake, the right handle is front brake, like a BMX, like a mountain bike. So that's one thing that their brain has to kind of reconfigure how that works. Because most customers that I ride with, they're so used to using the foot brake and they're so used to the clutch.
Yeah. I was gonna mention that.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I always give everyone an orientation when we ride. I say, listen, if you're in the moment, if you're here, if you're present, you'll get it. Yeah. But if you're not paying attention, you're going to hold the rear brake and you're going to think it's a clutch.
Right.
So I always give everyone a little bit of a test ride in a parking lot or just like a private road before we go, just so they can mentally get used to that. But it took me maybe like 20 minutes to get used to that when I first rode the bike.
Yeah.
And after that, I'm used to it now. The other thing is when I ride internal combustion now, I have to remember that that's a clutch.
Yeah.
Not a brake.
Yeah.
So it's not difficult to get used to it because I say to customers,
well, like anything.
Yeah, like it's just retraining your brain, right? It's like a scooter, like riding a scooter, like a Lime scooter or a Bird scooter, but it's a scooter on steroids. Respect the power that we have.
Right. Yeah, that was. I mean, it's like anything. It's like if you're riding a motorcycle and you got clutch, brake, and blah 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 blah, and then you jump on a bicycle, you're not going to confuse the left one for a clutch.
Exactly.
You know. So, yeah. Well. I think maybe we'll try to capture. We'll continue this, but we're gonna go for a test ride.
Yeah.
So we'll do the test ride, and after the test ride, we'll come back and I'll give you a quick feedback.
Awesome.
And then we'll do a longer video on another day.
Sure.
In regard to the test ride.
That sounds good to me.
Cool. Thank you, man.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.